Hello everyone, this is Sombal Nakhui. Welcome back to AWS Concepts, Question and Answers and Lab Series. The topic that I've chosen for today is AWS Auto Scaling. Let's get started. Question number 1. What is AWS Auto Scaling? AWS Auto Scaling is a fully managed service that allows you to provision and launch and terminate new instances as per demand. It monitors your application and automatically adjusts capacity to maintain steady, predictable performance at lowest possible cost. Using AWS Auto Scaling, it is easy to set up application scaling for multiple resources across multiple services in minutes. Question number 2. What are vertical and horizontal scalabilities? So basically, there are two main types of scaling. While horizontal scaling refers to adding additional nodes, vertical scaling describes adding more power to your current machine. For instance, if your server requires more processing power, vertical scaling would mean upgrading the CPU. You can also vertically scale the memory, storage, or networking speed. Let me take an analogy over here and clear this concept of horizontal and vertical scaling for once and all. Suppose you are hungry, you go to a restaurant, you order a burger. So there are two possibilities. Either if you are not done or you are not full, you can order a second burger or a third burger or and so on. The other possibility is you tell the waiter, you're looking at the burger, you know okay, you will be needing more. You tell the waiter to add additional cheese to it, to add one more patty to it, to increase the size of the current burger only. The same goes with the horizontal and vertical scalabilities. When you are adding additional nodes, just like you are ordering a new burger, so it is your horizontal scaling. On the other hand, when we talk of vertical scaling, we describe it as adding more power to the current machine. That is, adding more patties, more cheese to the same burger. Hope it clears that out. Coming to question number 3, when should I use Amazon EC2 Auto Scaling versus AWS Auto Scaling? As the name says, you should go for AWS Auto Scaling to manage scaling for multiple resources across multiple services. Whereas you should use EC2 Auto Scaling if you only need to scale Amazon EC2 Auto Scaling groups, or if you are only interested in maintaining the health of your EC2 fleet. Question number 4. What is the difference between auto scaling and load balancer? People often get confused between these two terms. Auto scaling helps you to ensure the optimal use of resources. That is, depending upon your need, you are either scaling up or you are scaling down. Whereas load balancer helps to distribute the workload evenly and provide high availability. Coming to the next question, that is question number 5. What is warm-up period in auto scaling? The default instance warm-up lets you specify how long after an instance reaches the in-service state it waits before contributing usage data to the aggregated matrix. That is, by default, if your instance is down or it comes to an in service state, so it waits before contributing. So that time, that waiting time is your warm up period. Question number 6. What triggers auto scaling in AWS? This is an important question with respect to the exam. People often get confused what actually triggers auto scaling. So Amazon CloudWatch alarm is something that triggers auto scaling in AWS. The auto scaling groups in your Elastic Beanstalk environment uses two CloudWatch alarms to trigger scaling operations. The default trigger scale when the average outbound network traffic from an instance is higher than 6 MB or lower than 2 MB over a period of 5 consecutive minutes. Other important thing to note is an instance can scale up as well as down. While scaling down, AWS uses a below termination logic. What it does it, okay, if suppose it has to scale in, so it will first look at, okay, are there instances in multiple AZs? If the answer is yes, then select the AZ with most instance. If the answer is no, that is there are no we don't have instances in multiple AZs, in that case we will look for the second condition. We will first select the instance with the oldest launch configuration, and then we will check, are there multiple instances using the oldest launch configuration. Again, if the answer is yes, then we will select the instance closest to the next billing hour. If the answer is no, we will move ahead. Again, we will check, are there multiple instances closest to the next billing hour. Then we will select an instance at random to terminate the instance. Coming to question number 7. What is an EC2 Auto Scaling Group? Amazon EC2 Auto Scaling Group, in short you call it at ASG, contains collection of EC2 instances that share similar characteristics and are treated as logical grouping for the purpose of fleet management and dynamic scaling. For example, if a single application operates across multiple instances, you might want to increase the number of instances in that group to improve the performance of the application, or decrease the number of instances to reduce cost when demand is low. Question number 8. How do I know when EC2 auto scaling is launching or terminating the instances in an EC2 auto scaling group? You can configure EC2 Auto Scaling to send an SNS notification whenever your EC2 Auto Scaling group scales. Amazon SNS or simple notification service can deliver notification as HTTP or HTTPS post, email, or as a message posted to Amazon SQS queue. Coming to next question, that is question number 9. What is a launch configuration or template? A launch configuration is a template that an EC2 auto scaling group uses to launch EC2 instance. When you create a launch configuration, you specify information for the instance such as the ID of the AMI, that is your Amazon machine image, the instance type, a key pair, one or more security groups, and a block of device mapping. Question number 10. Can EC2 auto scaling group span multiple AWS regions? EC2 auto scaling group are regional construct. They can span across AZs but not across AWS region. This is a point we should keep in mind. Coming to question number 11. How can you implement changes across multiple instances in EC2 auto scaling group? For that, you can use AWS Code Deploy or CloudFormation to orchestrate code changes to multiple instances in your EC2 auto scaling group. As we will move forward, we will experiment more with Code Deploy and CloudFormation. Coming to question number 12. What are characteristics of unhealthy instance? An unhealthy instance is one where the hardware has become impaired for some reason, be it a bad disk or something else, or it is not passing a user configured ELB health check. Amazon EC2 Auto Scaling performs health check on each individual EC2 instances at regular intervals, and if the instance is connected to the ELB, that is your elastic load balancer, it can also perform ELB health checks. Question number 13. Which health check type should I select? So if you are using an ELB, that is your elastic load balancer, with your group, you should select an ELB health check. If you are not using ELB with your group, you should select EC2 health check. Question number 14. What are the three main components of EC2 auto scaling in AWS? This is an important question. The first thing, that is your launch template. A launch template is a feature of EC2 auto scaling that allows you a way to temporalize your launch request. It enables you to store launch parameters so that you don't have to specify them every time you launch an instance. For example, a launch template can contain a specific AMI, instance type, storage, and networking settings that you typically use to launch instance. For each launch template, you can create one or more numbered launch template versions. Each version can have different launch parameters too. The second thing, or the second component of EC2 auto scaling, is your auto scaling group. That is your ASGs. For auto scaling, your EC2 instances are organized into groups so that they can be treated as a logical unit for the purpose of scaling and management. When you create a group, you can specify its minimum and maximum desired number of EC2 instances. We will see this in the lab as we move forward. The third thing is that you need to have is your scaling policies. A scaling policy tells auto scaling when and how to scale. Scaling can occur manually, on a schedule, on demand, or you can use auto scaling to maintain a specific number of instances too. That is to say, suppose you should have at any time maximum 5 instances running, and if there is some problem or some issue and one of your instances is down, then it should scale up and to maintain 5 instances. Coming to our last question, that is question number 15. What is the difference between launch template and launch configuration? Launch template, or LT, what you can say, is the preferred one. AWS recommends you using launch template over launch configurations because launch templates provide fast latest features. The second thing, the second difference to keep in mind is that launch configuration are immutable in nature. That is, once you create, you cannot edit them. So replacement is the only option. Whereas our launch template provides versioning. At a time, you can create multiple versions and make one of them as the default for your use. The third difference is, using launch template, you can use the T2 unlimited burst feature, which is not possible in case of your LCs. Other thing is, launch template allows provisioning both on-demand and spot instances. You can provision both on-demand and spot instances using the launch template, which you cannot do in case of LCs or your launch configuration. And the last thing to keep that we need to keep in mind is launch template are compatible to use with AWS Management Console, AWS SDK, as well as AWS CLI. Let's move ahead with the lab and the implementation part. The task that we will try to accomplish in this lab is, first we will be creating the launch template, then we will be creating the auto scaling group, and finally we will be testing whether our EC2 auto scaling is working properly or not. So let's get started with the very first step of creating the launch template. Creating a launch template. We are going to create launch template, which are recommended approach for creating instances in auto scaling group. To start with, navigate to the EC2 and then choose launch template and create launch template. Once on the create launch template page, enter the details starting with the name, the description, followed by the AMI. Here I have chosen Amazon Linux 2 AMI. Choose the instance type, and keeping most of the thing as default, I will be clicking on the create launch template button. The launch template will be created. We can view it by clicking on the view launch template button. Next step is to create the auto scaling group, which is a collection of EC2 instances that can automatically scale based upon the predefined policies and conditions. To start with, navigate again to the EC2 page and choose auto scaling. Under auto scaling, you will be having the option to create auto scaling groups. Choose the launch template that you have created, configure the settings which include your VPC, your subnets, and click on the next button. Then configure the advanced settings and choose the group size and the scaling policies. Here the desired capacity that I have chosen is 2, the minimum capacity is also 2, and the maximum capacity is also 2. We can add tag and move ahead with the create auto scaling group button. Once auto once auto scaling in order to test auto scaling group, that is our third task. What we need to do is we will be stopping an instance. So once we stop an instance or the instance is stopped, it will take around 1 to 2 minutes. You can see that your stopped instance will be terminating automatically and a new instance will be launched to fulfill the policy condition, that is minimum 2 instances should be there all the time. Thus, we can see that we have successfully used the AWS Management Console to create a launch template. We have configured our own details while creating the auto scaling group, that is minimum maximum instances that we require at any point of time. Then finally, we have stopped the EC2 instance to verify a replacement instance is created automatically as per the requirement. And if you found this session informative, then please go ahead to like and subscribe and share the knowledge with others. Till we meet again, happy learning. Thank you.